Alrighty, team, welcome to the first ever FLINT Talks podcast. Today, we are going to be talking a little bit about AI, artificial intelligence, for those of you who don't know what that acronym means. My name is Caitlin, and I'm one of the FLINT Auckland leaders. And today, I have a couple of my other FLINT members with me, if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Take it away, guys.
Yeah, well, thanks for the fabulous intro, Caitlin. This is history in the making. I am, as Derek called me, Caius. I'm a very passionate technology man. I believe that the reason I got into technology was just because of the impacts it has on people, less so about the technical side of things. I'm a people man, so that's a little bit about me, and I look forward to being on this journey with you guys. Derek, give me a little bit about yourself.
Well, kia ora, everyone. My name is Derek, and I have had a passion for technology ever since I was a kid. And it's only grown, and now it's evolved into particularly the AI space. So that's where my true passion is. And yeah, excited to see what this podcast brings out of us.
Perfect. As I mentioned at the start, we are going to be talking about AI today. Derek, as our resident AI passionate man, do you want to kick us off with a little bit about what AI is?
100%, because there is a lot of hysteria and complication regarding this topic. And really, if we break it down fundamentally to the core truth, it is simply the mimic of human intelligence in machines. And the goal is to do any human tasks, a machine doing human tasks. So that is at a fundamental level what AI is. But then we can get into very particular details as we need to. But yeah, I'll just keep it simple for now.
Awesome. Caius, anything to add to that?
No, I think Derek covered it well, but there was one thing in what he just said there that kind of piques my interest, Derek, and I will throw you on the spot here. When you say mimics human actions, what do you say to those naysayers that say AI is going to take over the world? They're going to take over all our jobs, and one day there's going to be the AI apocalypse.
To those people, there is a potential non-zero chance. And I want to say it like that, meaning that they have some validity, but that is a pessimistic view. And I'm an optimist, and I believe that it can create jobs as much as it will take it away. But there is quite a possibility that with intense advancement, we could see some jobs being lost faster than it's being created. So yeah, it's non-zero for me.
Awesome. And you mentioned doing things that people currently do, or AI doing things for us. Do you have any great examples of really good use cases of AI at the moment?
Of course. Well, AI has been around ever since like the 1950s when Alan Turing first devised the Enigma and the computer to crack the code. And since then, there's been a lot of advancements from there all the way to now, which is ChatGPT, if we can think of the start of the huge AI revolution. But AI has been existent in all our technologies. We're talking about our phones, our social medias, Google Photos. If you even search up any face or any location, that is AI in the background. There is the Netflix recommendations. If you go to your mom's Netflix channel and yours, it's going to be completely different, I'll tell you. And that's because that's AI behind that. So it's been around, but these are all in the narrow space. It's called narrow AI. And the stuff in autonomous vehicles, and I could go on, but I don't want to just give a list. Those are the examples I'll stay with for now.
Awesome. And is there anything that you're looking forward to that you know is coming that we might need to keep an eye out for?
I think just right now, there's many things, but if I look at just one and narrow it down, large language models are amazing. And what I mean by that is basically ChatGPT, Bing or Bard or whatever the variants are from the big companies. These have statistically shown that if you have access to it, you double your output as a human being. So that's what I'm excited about.
Wow. Caius, any thoughts?
Yeah, I like what Derek is saying in terms of the language learning model, especially in my world, because it has doubled my output, that's for sure. I can't even think of the Google world where I actually had to go in and search things, and dear God, when I had a follow-up question, how hard that was going to be. But what I like about AI, and I said before, I'm a people's person. I like what AI is doing to increase the quality of people's lives. Now, I have this rant, which I will give you a brief snippet about how AI specifically has been the greatest change to people's quality of life. And some people would fight me and say that medicine actually did, but I see it as two different things. I see the quality of life being how you spend your life from 0 to 70 years, and I see medicine being the longevity of life. So that's how I've defined it. But in the technology space, I like how it's helped people with accessibility problems a lot. For example, you can look at hearing aids and how that's actually changed someone's life from not being able to hear and seeing the impacts it has on society to actually having someone who's able to contribute to society now with hearing aids. So there's just one of many examples in the accessibility space I think is so cool. And I know that's not directly AI, but it is a technology example. And I think as AI continues to develop, we'll see a lot more of that kind of quality of life improvements. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure so many people are really excited about, especially in the healthcare space, some of the advancements that AI is gonna really bring around for the doctors and the nurses as well as for the patients. As someone that potentially doesn't use AI much at all, like myself, have you got any really easy ways that we can start bringing AI more into our everyday lives? One of you?
100%. This has been my personal mission for the last couple of weeks to educate as many people as I can to use ChatGPT. I've done it in my organization. I've done it personally. I feel like people are probably sick of me right now hearing how many times you should use ChatGPT. But essentially, I will say it right here. Anything that is tedious, repetitive, or monotonous, anything that is in those categories, which is a lot of things in our lives, can be automated. ChatGPT will most likely be able to give you that information very clearly or reduce the complexity. And so perfect examples I can give you are formatting documents, doing spell checks, doing quick kind of pros and cons for any idea or decision that you need to take on. In my case, as I'm a software engineer, a lot of programming, a lot of technical stuff, but really you can think of it yourself, and I can guarantee you most likely it will automate it. But yeah, if you want to add on to that, Kais, and from your perspective, how have you used it?
Yeah, I've loved the use of technology in my everyday life. And the way I've gone about it is every time I am not that good at something, I'll then just go on Google App Store or an AI directory now that Derek has pointed me in that direction, and then just find a tool that can use it for me. And a good example for me was one that everyone knows, and that's Grammarly. I do not claim to be a wizard with my English literature, but over the course of 2 years since I've been using Grammarly for emails and just for, I guess, for writing up personal essays and work documents, I've become a lot better at knowing how to not comma splice, how to put a full stop, when a sentence is fragmented. So it's those sorts of things that I then look at and I go, well, where are my deficiencies? And then I look to plug it with the tool. That's kind of how I've used it in over the past few years.
Awesome, because yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry, Derek.
I
Ah.
was just saying it's even more powerful than that because you're using Grammarly from a written perspective. You had to write it and it'll fix it. And with AI, you can write a sentence to generate an email based on some requirements. So you'd be like, I did it today. I wanted to find out whether my company had comprehensive health checks. And I had an email address. I had what I wanted to say. And I said, generate an email that asks this person if we have any comprehensive health check discounts. Popped it, copied and pasted it. That's it. Took me 10% of the time that it would.
And now to jump on kind of the other side of the pros and cons of AI here, I know personally a few people that believe things like we've just talked about, the Grammarly and the generating emails and stuff is going to take away people's knowledge of how to write these things themselves. What do you think about that?
I can take this one first, Eric. I think that if AI is used and developed in the right way, where it enables the individual to actually learn, kind of like a Grammarly example, where it's telling me what is wrong and asking me if I want to improve it, I think then it only enhances people's understanding and it's only a benefit. And examples where I've seen examples of that negativity is more so around the social media space, where people are wondering, why is this coming up on my newsfeed, and how much of an impact social media companies can have over a closed algorithm. I like the idea that Elon Musk has thrown out to have an open algorithm where you can see what's actually happening and why you are being seen, why those things are being seen. So I think it's a combination of being transparent and keeping the power in the user's hands.
That's a really good point. I actually want to touch that later. But to answer your question, Caitlin, to me, it's the same problem or the same argument of, oh, calculators are going to ruin mathematics or photograph is going to ruin art. It didn't. And it changed the way that we interacted, and it changed what it means to be an artist or a person that uses the calculators. And it's the same here. We will not need to learn or keep in our heads a lot of the stuff that it is to create or write a sentence, because we'll use our brains in other creative ways. And that change is so big for people that it can seem daunting. But I don't think it will ever reduce our intelligence as long as you maintain a curious and active mind.
Wow, there's our little bullet point for the description of it, isn't it? Maintain a curious and active mind.
But like Caius touched on an incredible point, which is the democratization of AI. And if we do not give this access to everyone, originally Google was in Underhouse developing this. They knew the potential of this ever since their inception, and they kept it under wraps. They wanted a monopoly on this, a way to become more powerful than governments. But open AI democratized AI. And then they had to release their version to democratize it in order to be competitive. So the future is very important that we keep it open access, because if we don't, it's going to be a very interesting one.
Okay, cool. So also talking about the social good aspect of AI, I know we've recently ran an event with that as the topic. Derek, did you want to have a little chat about that?
Of course. Why don't I pass it over to the winner of this particular event, Caius? Why don't you tell us how you brought AI for social good, man?
Yeah. Thank you for introducing me as the winner. It was actually quite an event, and I know to the listeners it sounds real biased that one of the three of us actually won, but I promise it wasn't because of the fact that I'm on this podcast. It was because of our great ideas. So yeah, last week the FLINT team had a hackathon hosted by our great partners, Microsoft. As part of the hackathon, Derek set us a challenge to look at AI for social good. What my team then looked down the path of is, well, how can we use AI to help the social media crisis and help bullying online, because we know it's such an underrepresented issue. You know, the facts and figures are online, but they definitely don't encompass everything, because this kind of thing is severely underreported, as we probably all know from experience or secondhand experience. Our team went about it and we came up with a concept called AI Angel, and that is spelled AINGEL. It was just a play on the word. I actually came up with that concept because of the way the name of the event was done. So I have to give credit to Derek, but effectively, what was that?
You sure it wasn't ChatGPT that came up with that name, bro?
No, I'm claiming it myself. I'm claiming it. Don't you dare give this to ChatGPT. I'll give everything else to Chat and Bard, but the name is mine. But effectively what we had thought about is we would have it as a little pop-up on the side of your news feed across every single social media platform, where it would plug in and have a bit of tone analysis to tell you your newsfeed is being a bit negative, or be able to filter out some negative comments. If you wanted to be on a motivational day, you could then just plug in and say, I just want to see motivational stuff. It would also trigger warnings like someone has not messaged you before, 90 or whatever the figures are, that this could be harassment, or this could be whatever. And it was just more so taking in all the concepts we were talking about earlier about empowering the user. Now, I think that the great thing about the event and AI was that we had no idea how this was going to come together right at the very start. We simply just utilized the tools, and then the tools use all the heavy lifting. And from then on, we'd get a whole bunch of ideas, we'd distill it down, we'll talk as a group as to how we wanted to approach it. We'd ask it a follow-up question, and then within 2 hours, I think we had a pretty cool concept, which would have taken us a lot longer if we didn't have access to those AI tools. So I came out of it thinking I could solve all the world's problems using AI, but that's probably the dopamine. So no, I had a great event, and it just showed the power of AI. I'm not sure how you found it on your end, Derek, given that you put it all together, and whether it lived up to all your expectations.
No, that was the exact thing that I wanted. I wanted to prove that through AI, you can leverage all the heavy lifting, and you can generate ideas, create content, and produce business plans in a matter of a couple of hours, which was the total event time. And everyone felt the same. They got to experience the tools. They came up with a diverse range of ideas that I could never even thought possible. And it was amazing. I'm so impressed to see human creativity embedded with such a powerful tool, which is how we prevent ourselves from being automated. You can't automate humanity. So that was it.
Yeah, and that was really reflected in what the judges said about all of the teams as well. We had 3 amazing judges that volunteered their time, and they all were really impressed with the diverse range of ideas. We had from healthcare to social media, all different types of tools that you could think of. We kind of represented the entirety of technology in what we did, and the fact that we had people from all walks of life as well that really came together in different teams, people that had never met each other before sitting down at those tables to get started with this event. And yeah, they were really blown away with the ease of not only putting the ideas together, but the way that they actually were able to communicate it with the teams and the judges and stuff at the end. The presentations went really well. And I know some of the teams even used AI to come up with their presentations on how to present the thing that they just built with AI. So it was a bit of an AI inception there, which I thought was really cool.
I mean, on a real, even more inception meta level, I used AI to help me plan the whole thing. And I definitely wouldn't have done any of the stuff without leveraging AI in the same amount of time, for sure. So yeah.
What I do want to know from you two actually now is, what was your favorite of the 4 ideas? And you don't have to pick AI Angel, but yeah, keen to hear if you have one. If you don't, I'll just say it's AI Angel.
I do actually, and it's not
Right.
AI Angel. Sorry, Caius. I think personally that didn't resonate as much with me as it did with the judges. I think they really loved it because it would be super applicable to young people in New Zealand. And I think they were thinking of their kids having it on their phones and making them feel safer, and like they had an extra ability to keep their kids safe online, which, amazing. I just don't have children, so don't see life and things in that view. The one that really stood out to me was, I can't remember what they called it now, but the one about simplifying the medical jargon and the medical diagnoses and that kind of thing.
It was MedHub.
MedHub, that's what it was called. Yeah. And so what they were doing was using AI to help bridge the gap between knowledge from doctors and nurses through to patients. And whether that was due to language barriers, people that spoke other languages, or perhaps were new English speakers and didn't quite understand, or if it was just because doctors can be very technical and use a lot of medical jargon and medical language that a normal person that doesn't work in that field would have no clue about. As someone with quite a few family members and some health problems and stuff that pop up, that really resonated with me because it would have saved a lot of time and stress and worry of, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with this person? What do I need to do? What do I need to get done to me? If it was much more easily explained and I didn't have to wait 3 to 6 days to get a response from a doctor every time I had a question. So yeah, that was probably the one that I could see would make the biggest impact across the board, really, to everyone in all walks of life, not just a little subset. But I know actually, Caius, that I came around to your table as one of the helpers and told you guys to make it more specific. So that's on me. Sorry, bud.
That's all right. I'll give you credit for coming up with AI Angel, then you can have a little bit.
It
Not
wasn't
all,
me.
just a little
It wasn't
bit.
me.
The relevance of MedHub is very important, but my favorite one was the AI scam protection type of solution that came up. I don't remember the name particularly, but it was essentially having an AI system that would very intelligently identify what is a sophisticated scam, whether it be a very comprehensive email, a very targeted phishing email, whether it be a deep fake or some sort of, text. And the scams are going to get increasingly crazy, let me tell you, especially with AI tools coming out. We talk about the power of AI tools and how it can help us, but we also need to understand where there is good, there is bad. There are going to be bad actors that are going to equally use it to destroy humanity. So AI scams are crazy. And that group that came up with a kind of flagging system that would identify this and something that can be easily interfaced with existing platforms was my favorite, personally.
It does bring up a very interesting topic there, or discussion, and it will be a discussion for many years to come. But Derek, how do you think that we go about ensuring that AI is only used for good and mitigate the impacts of the bad actors? And I look to all the commentary around social media and how everyone said, well, social media was great, but it should have been regulated earlier to, I guess, mitigate the impacts that, now we see what Facebook and, let's say, Twitter has with, this cancel culture. But I guess that's one example where regulation hasn't necessarily caught up or hasn't been quick enough. So obviously keen to hear your thoughts on your initial thoughts on how we can do that with AI, if you have any opinions on it.
100%, my friend. And I just want to stress that when Facebook created the like button, they only were thinking about positivity. It ended up being a huge catalyst for anxiety and depression. And that was something that we just didn't foresee. And that was something that happened with linear progression as the platform grew. With AI, it's not going to be linear. It's going to be exponential, if not even quicker than that. I'd say factorial, if not. And when we deal with that level of growth, the tiniest implications early on will have societal, deafening, destabilizing effects with artificial intelligence. So regulation is paramount, if not the only thing that we can do to save ourselves from this technology. And this is regulation at every level, global level. The same severity as nuclear war and pandemics is my personal opinion. And governments need to set up bodies that regulate any company that develops and distributes these AI systems. They need to block and protect any potential bad actors that would deploy these for nefarious reasons. And that's a starting point. But I have no idea what this world's going to be. But I know that any small effect that we don't foresee will have immense consequences down the line.
You heard it here, folks. Derek Edward for Prime Minister 2023. You got my vote, buddy.
He's a bit young, isn't he? Don't you have to be like 35 or something?
Age is just a number.
Oh God, that's a whole nother topic in itself, Kaius. Don't get us started on that.
I'll say that for
Um,
episode 25.
Cool. So yeah, I feel like that's probably a good place to wrap up, talking about the end of the world coming and the laws that we have to put in to prevent it. Do
I
we have
literally
anything
said I
else
wouldn't
that
do this. And I
yeah, yeah.
went down the philosophical route, but I think it is all connected really, because as much social good it can bring, we also have to understand what negatives it can bring so we can focus on the good. So yeah.
But yeah, if you guys have anything else to add, I'll leave you with the final thoughts.
Yeah, I've got some final thoughts I'll share with our audience. I think AI is definitely coming and technology is only going to get more advanced. I'd encourage you to get involved, even if you don't think you know anything. Caitlin, I am looking at you. I was definitely in that space a few years back where the most I knew about technology was how to turn a computer on and off, and the Q button was in the top left. But I think a lot of people get scared from a technical perspective, but it really doesn't have to be like that. It can be the professional or the user experience. Like, you don't have to have any sort of understanding. You just have to kind of get stuck in and use it. And I would argue that bad technology is when someone can't use it unless they are technical. So that's my little perspective. And yeah, please come in and listen to us next time. We will have more to share and help us on this journey.
Oh, I wish we had planned what we were going to talk about next time so then we can mention it here to draw them in, you know?
But yeah, that was good. There's a famous quote by a science fiction author, and it's that science grows knowledge faster than society gathers wisdom. And I believe this would potentially be the case with AI. So the action points that I would give, or the takeaways that I would give to the audience, is get AI educated, because that is how you can understand yourself. And I've learned how to be human through AI tools, as weird as that is. So yeah, you even figure out a bit about what it means to be you. So yeah, that's it. Enjoy.
Great. Well, we should probably say the whole like and follow and subscribe and share with your pals. We'll be hopefully doing an episode every month about a different topic, and we might even have a range of different voices joining us each month, depending on who's available, who's around, who wants to talk about whatever we're talking about that month. So yeah, thank you to TUANZ, who are the main sponsor of FLINT, the Technology Users Association of New Zealand. Thank you to Intuito, who have sponsored us with some microphones to put this all together. And a big thank you to Caius and Derek, who have done a lot of work in the background to get us to the point of recording our first podcast. I've just jumped in to be a third voice, so I'm not taking any credit for this one at all.
But a
It's
very
all you
important
guys.
voice. A very important voice.
Thanks.
But yeah, no, thank you, team. Looking forward to the next one.